Monica here to help you make healthier choices for a healthier life. So I'm doing a short little mini series on sleep and maybe why we feel so tired all the time. So a lot of things that I hear from clients, family members, friends is that they just always feel so tired. So I did a little research, and this is something I struggle with myself. So it's an issue that I think we all can relate to in one way or another. Maybe not personally, but maybe we have a partner or children, or a parent in some way that is struggling with sleep dysfunction, or maybe just feeling tired at the time. So of course there are some variables that can cause one to struggle with energy. So age, we lose mitochondria. So this is the energy producing molecule engine that produces adenosine triphosphate, like ADP, in our bodies, which is the chemical that kind of produces energy. And so that is one variable that might you need to consider as we age. We might not have the same energy that we did when we were in our early 20s and teens. And of course, there's chronic fatigue that might be related to medications, give you that groggy feeling, a chronic illness, especially illnesses like depression, heart disease, kidney failure, anything to do with hemoglobin or lungs, any kind of illness or chronic disease might also attribute to that feeling of tired. So if that is the case, please consult with a doctor and get to figuring out what can make you feel better. But there are many more reasons too. So I'm just kind of looking at the top 7 reasons why you might feel that chronic fatigue. So let's kind of go through those. One is sleep, which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it's, are you getting adequate sleep? There is, a lot about when we should be sleeping, our circadian rhythms, when melatonin is produced in the body, which is, the chemical that helps you sleep, helps you, go into sort of the REM and the sleep state. Is the body, the pineal gland, effectively producing that for you? And so we can look at our sleep habits and see if we are in fact getting adequate sleep. And then we'll kind of look through those. And again, this is a little mini series I'm here, so we'll do other videos on how to break these habits that maybe you have, sort of behaved, or these habits that you've kind of learned over time. So another one, besides the obvious of getting inadequate sleep, is inactivity. And so inactivity is another predictor of being chronically fatigued, stress. In our overworked, overstressed kind of culture that we're in right now, I think stress is something that we really need to start looking at ways to cope with our stress in healthy ways. Diet. So a diet is another factor that might be contributing to your low energy. What are we consuming and putting in our bodies? And I talk a lot about that here on my social media and on my platforms. So we'll talk about low energy foods and high energy foods. If you haven't caught it on my Facebook group, let me know. I can send you that link, or I'll talk more about that here. And then dehydration. So when I say dehydration, it's really about what are we drinking? We're drinking soda and sugary drinks. So what you drink and how much you drink really matters. Social isolation, which I think we all kind of experienced a little bit through COVID, and just really feeling socially isolated. If you're dealing with depression or anxiety, that can also lead to feeling really, really fatigued. And then, of course, anxiety and depression, as I mentioned before. So let's kind of talk about this lack of adequate sleep. So good sleep causes are not getting good sleep causes an increase of cortisol levels and stress hormone that we are all learning a lot about. I don't know about you, but 10 years ago, I didn't really know a whole lot about the cortisol hormone that is produced in the body. It's the fight or flight. If a saber-toothed tiger is chasing, you need that cortisol to, rapidly go to your muscles so you can run away from that, tiger or bear or whatever it is. We don't live in that climate anymore, in that environment. So we don't need that much cortisol in our bodies. Of course, it is necessary to have that for danger, but we don't want to live in that state that causes a lot of inflammation in the body and is linked to a lot of health issues as well as this feeling of fatigue. When you have high levels of cortisol, which is produced by the adrenal gland, which it's a little gland that sits right above the kidneys, it definitely interferes with the body's ability to produce melatonin within, the circadian rhythms of melatonin and serotonin rather. And so here's a little test that I always, like to share. I watched, I'll have to think of this woman's name that I watched because I want to give her credit for this. She explained it so beautifully to me. If you are waking up around that 3 a.m. mark, it's a probably good indicator that you have too much cortisol in your body. And here's why. As I mentioned, our body, the pineal gland produces melatonin, and this is our natural chemical to help us, wind down, go to sleep, and stay asleep. If you have a lot of cortisol, then your body is not able to actually produce the melatonin that you need for that 8 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep. And so your body, think of it as it's a cup, and if your body is filled already with cortisol, then when you put the melatonin, this chemical in, the cortisol causes you to wake up earlier than you should. So it definitely interferes with the body's natural ability to produce the chemicals, melatonin and serotonin, which will lead you to feeling that chronic fatigue. So if you're waking up at 3:30, message me, let's chat, and I can give you some good habits of reducing the cortisol in your body and learning how to build healthier habits for sleep. So that is the first reason why you might not be getting enough sleep and you might be feeling tired. The second one is inactivity. And so we do live in a culture where if you need something really, it's at our fingertips, right? If you're hungry, you don't have to leave your house. You can DoorDash everything. You can order it online. You can have Amazon deliver it. You don't really have to really get in your car and leave. And so this can really cause a lot of inactivity. Streaming Netflix, there's binge-worthy. Listen, I'm guilty of it too. There's a couple of things that I really love to watch. And so we might, find ourselves being a little less active than maybe we were 10, 15 years ago. And so inactivity actually causes your body not to build muscle. And we need the muscle because of that mitochondria that I mentioned to you earlier, and those ATP chemicals that are the molecules that are like the energy engines of the body. When you have less muscle tone, the body is not in balance of effective distribution of this energy chemical, and for the obvious reasons, your heart. When you have a healthier heart, your body is also able to produce more oxygen to the muscles and pump more blood. And so being inactive, as crazy as it sounds, some people are like, wait, won't I be really tired if I start being really active? At first you might be. At first, if you're changing habits, you might be a little bit tired at first, but it's a good tired, right? It's that tired of man, I went out and I gardened, or I went for a walk, or, I walked to the store, I went and worked out, I did some yoga, whatever it is. That tired is the body's really natural way of building muscle and building endurance and stamina. So inactivity is the second. Stress, this is a silent killer. Listen, stress is one of the most dangerous predictors of disease. We are just such a stressed out society. I think we know this whenever we go anywhere. There's always that person that is having the road rage, or maybe even yourself. Like maybe you're a little short-tempered with your children or your spouse or your coworkers, because we have deadlines and the cell phone and the emails and everything we're on all of the time. So stress also produces high levels of cortisol and inflammation in the body. And I've already talked about, that's produced in the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands sit right above the kidneys. And so this is a very dangerous thing. The kidneys are responsible for the levels of hemoglobin in the body, which is, the good markers for the white blood cells that you need for energy, right? So if your adrenals are kind of over max, or you have adrenal fatigue, that's really a predictor again of a lot of diseases, as well as this, not being able to sleep well, and just maybe you are getting 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep, but you still feel tired. And so stress can really bring that. And it's also, again, linked to overeating, drinking. They're all kind of related, right? So if you're stressed out, you might be inactive. You might socially isolate. So all of these sort of topics that I'm talking about, they're all kind of like domino effect. They're kind of interconnected in a way. And then diet. So we hear a lot about diet. I talk a lot about diet. This is something that is, becoming more and more, I think, public knowledge, that we really have to be careful about what we're putting in our bodies, how much we're putting in, and where it's being sourced. There's so much information on the World Wide Web that sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. But choose a diet that works for you. And I'll be talking a little bit more about, how to choose high energy foods. What does that even mean? And how you can make small changes in your diet and with your family to sort of start living a little bit healthier lifestyle. And listen, these changes don't have to be all at once, right? They don't have to be like, you're throwing out the whole cupboard. Some people do that. I'm not one that it's a big believer in, like, let's go out and get everything out of the fridge and out of the cabinets, and because I'm more about habits. And so how can we learn how to have better habits? And we can start small, just making some different choices at the grocery store, maybe introducing 1 or 2 recipes a week into your family. But your diet definitely can contribute to a lot of factors of why you're feeling tired all of the time. Any kind of processed food that has chemicals, toxins, they're not life-giving. You're not getting anything out of, eating a bag of Cheetos, except, they're yummy, but they're not helping you in a life-giving way. So, again, when I say diet, I don't mean, those programs out there that send you food in the mail, or, kind of portion out things for you, again, because as soon as they go away, then a lot of times you actually gain more weight back. So when I say diet, I really mean lifestyle. And there's vegan and, Mediterranean and all sorts of diets that you can follow. There's paleo, there's Whole30, there's so many diets. You just have to find what's right for you, what's good for your body. And this is, again, you can talk to your doctor about this, or a nutritionist about this. So much information. I am a firm believer that the Mediterranean diet is really kind of the direction I go. It doesn't have to be plant-based, it can be. Mediterranean is fairly big, that encompasses a lot of different countries in the Middle East, or Mediterranean rather, that you can choose from. So I personally love the Mediterranean diet, lots of fish and lots of vegetables. So kind of keep in mind too, when you're at the grocery store, if you do kind of want little quick tips when you're grocery shopping, stay on the outside of the aisles. So go through the produce, maybe you're going over to the meats and the milk and cheese and butter frozen section, and then kind kind of get out of there without going down the chip aisle, the pop aisle, the cookie aisle, the candy aisle. And again, these are just small little changes that you can do. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. So the fifth one is dehydration. We are all dehydrated. I'm telling you, we really are. So it's not really so much, well, it is actually what you're drinking. So soda is a huge culprit for so many reasons that I really highly recommend not drinking sugary drinks. I mean, it's linked to diabetes, it's linked to obesity, it's linked to tooth decay, aging. There's just nothing good about drinking a soda. Now, can you have one once in a while? Sure. When we have 4 children and whenever we go out to eat, that is one thing that they understand is we do not allow them to drink soda. It's just something that my husband and I decided together that it was just not something that we wanted our children to be consuming on a regular basis. Now, again, we're talking about small little tips, and I'll be giving more information on a following video. But if you want to start right now, offer them lemonade or ginger ale. It's still not healthy, but it can kind of break them away from those darker sodas or Gatorades or, any kind of drink that has a fake coloring in it and lots of sugar and sodium. And of course, if you or your family is consuming energy drinks, please stop now. There is no reason to be drinking energy drinks. Not only are they dehydrating you and doing the opposite of what you want them to do, they are actually interfering with that, getting a good night's sleep and feeling rested, and they're actually counterintuitive. So that again leads me to caffeine. So drinking a lot of coffee, energy drinks, anything with caffeine. Now, listen, I have my cup of coffee in the morning. I'm not saying don't ever drink coffee. Some people believe that. I think if you're having, 1 cup of coffee in the morning because it's your treat and you love that, please don't let me stop you. But if you are somebody that wants to go completely clean, then caffeine would probably be something that you would want to talk about again with me. And there are other options out there that you can have for your morning that's creamy and delicious, but doesn't have caffeine. Natural juice is another one that I highly recommend staying away from, and a very sugary drink. There's really, again, no health benefits in those juices that are out there in the plastic containers, whether it's orange juice or cranberry juice or apple juice. I highly recommend not drinking those, and we'll talk more about what I do recommend. Of course, just drink water, put some lemon in there. I do have some really good sparkling water that I can share with you a little bit about. And according to the Mayo Clinic, adults should drink between 8 cups of water a day, or really, according to the Mayo Clinic, it should be, for men, it's like 3.7 liters of water, which is almost a gallon. I think a gallon is around 4.1 liters. And then women should be drinking between, 2.7 to 3 liters a day. That's almost a gallon. That's a lot of water. And again, we'll do some more videos on this, or I will be doing, because you don't want those late at night, because then you're up going to the restroom and it's interrupting the circadian rhythms. But these recommendations for fluids can be from other sources like fruits and soups and other foods. 20% of that water intake can come from other sources rather than water. Okay, so social isolation. So during COVID, I think we all, kind of got, some sort of experience with that, some more than others, depending on the area that you lived. And I think we saw how this was really hard on us, not having those connections with friends and neighbors, and whether you go to church or you're part of groups. It really took a toll, I think, on our mental health. And so social isolation can really lead to depression and anxiety. It's like a domino effect. The more you're feeling depressed, the more you're feeling fatigued, the more, you start to self-isolate, and then you're binge watching the Netflix. Like I said, they're all kind of tied in together. Not having those outlets to connect with community can be really, really hard, and be very detrimental to one's sort of mental health and overall health, and can really lead to exhaustion. So that is something that maybe you didn't consider. So just keep an eye again on your kiddos, as well as your own mental health, and see if there are ways that you can get involved socially. So anxiety is my last one, and I wasn't for sure if I should put this one in here, but your thoughts, right? Having anxiety, how you think can really affect your reality. I have been following Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's kind of the leading figure on how your thoughts can kind of create your world. Lots more on that later. But the more anxious you feel, the more that cortisol is released, the more the mitochondria and the ATP, it's all disrupted and you're really out of balance. So there are a lot of ways that you can really help with anxiety, to reduce the cortisol levels and all the inflammation in your body, and help you get a good night's sleep and a restful sleep to help you feel energized and ready for the day in the morning. So these are the 7 sort of main things that I wanted to share here with you, just to kind of let you know, if you're somebody that's feeling fatigued all of the time, look at these 1 through 7. You might want to ask yourself, how many of them do you have? And if so, follow me for more. I'm going to be sharing more videos of what do we do instead of, having the binging Netflix or the inadequate sleep. How do we break these habits? So look at sort of your lifestyle, see if these 7 pertain to you. If they do not, and you're still feeling fatigued, please see a doctor, or talk to somebody in the profession, in the medical field, to maybe do some blood work or labs to find out if there's a predetermining reason that you're feeling fatigued. There might be. And so please do not take your health for granted, and have that checked out. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to share more, and let me know your thoughts.